My name is Julie Ward and I am or was Ronnie Ward's wife. Ronnie was formally diagnosed with COPD in about 2014. Although we were told that it wasn't curable, I don't think either of us actually understood that it was terminal, for want of a better word, until they actually came in and said, we need to start palliative care. And that's kind of when it hit home formally. When they first mentioned the end of life care plan, it's a massive shock because although 9 times out of 10 you know that that's happening, to hear those words was the most frightening thing. The actual end of life care plan wasn't put in place until a month before he died. They told us that he will probably have 3 to 6 months, and he lasted a month. It was a very quick process. So it's a very good idea to do it sooner rather than later so that the patient has some choice in what's going on as well and is well enough or able enough to make those choices. So for Ronnie, one of the big things was he didn't want to be in hospital. He wanted to die at home. They offered him the hospice, which he refused. But actually, as he got worse, his choice was to go into the hospice. And the other thing, I suppose, is DNR. We talked about DNR and we had the DNR form. And again, Ronnie was able to make that decision. It was good to be able to talk about things like his eating, not force feed him to eat. I think once we knew the end of life, the care plan was in place, there was no point trying to force him to eat. And it made our relationship better because I wasn't every 5 minutes saying, Ronnie, you need to eat. He had choices. I mean, Ronnie had a funeral plan in place anyway, but if he hadn't done, we could have talked about that. Our 2 daughters were involved, so we could all talk about that as well and what was going to happen. They were adamant, like Ronnie, that he needed to stay at home and not go into the hospice. And when he did choose to go in, the girls were really upset and didn't want him to. But obviously, listen to Ronnie, and now none of us have got any regrets that that's what he did. It was the best place for him. Knowing that there were people on call 24 hours a day, you need to consider obviously the patient and what they want. And sometimes that's really hard because it could be different to what you want or your children want. But at least you can all have that conversation together. Go with it, embrace it. It's really difficult because your first initial reaction is, go away, how dare you say those words to me? It's not going to happen to us. If I'd talked to somebody about that possibility, it might be 6 months down the line, it might be 6 years down the line. It wouldn't have come as such a shock. We would have understood a bit more about what was happening. As I say, a month wasn't very long. It just needs to be done earlier and a very open discussion. But once you get over that shock, just embrace it, get all the help you can get, professional and from your family and friends. Somebody you can let off steam to. I didn't want to cry in front of my kids. I kept pretending I was strong for them. So I cried in front of a lot of friends. But counselling helps as well, and the professionals, because they're not emotionally involved, obviously. It's really important to support yourself and make sure you're looking after yourself, because you can't look after anybody if you don't look after yourself. Take everything that's offered to you and live those last few days, weeks, months as best you can. Don't think that this is the end, although you know it's going to be. Think this is how long we've got left. Let's enjoy it. Let's do what we can.